Greetings. So we are now at I'm not sure what to call this segment. We're going to go with kind of the artist spotlight, although even though technically he's not the artist, but he is very much within the arena of gospel music. And so I'm excited to have this conversation with my guest this morning, Hermain Hill. So welcome to the show, Hermain.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Glad to have you. So just tell us a little bit about yourself before we start to delve deeper into who you are and some of the things that you do.
Sure. Well, I'm a lover of gospel. I'm a PK. My dad's a minister, and so I've been in and around the industry for a long time. I'm not a recording artist myself. However, I'm a musician. Played piano, organ over the years. Been singing in the choir, all of that. So definitely have that background, but I have a Bachelor of Science degree in business. So I'm more so behind the scenes, pushing artists, representing them and things like that. And so born and raised in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And so that's my home. I live in the DC area now, the DMV, that which is Maryland, DC, Virginia, for those who don't know what DMV is. And my office is in Washington, DC. But so I own an artist management company, EJH Music, LLC. And we represent independent gospel artists from around the country. And they've gone on to chart, be nominated, or at least first and second round for major awards, the Grammys, the Stellars, things like that. So super excited to be here. Just glad to be here.
Great. So you have so you're the PK, you grew up in church, you were involved in singing in the choir. You decided to go to school, you went to school and you got your bachelor's in business.
Administration.
So someone who is the PK who grew up in church, was involved in the choir, but you didn't feel that was the direction that you were supposed to go with, and you went into the business direction.
Yes.
How did you move from that into artist management?
Well, I never really had a heart to be a recording artist myself. I didn't think I had that strong voice to be a solo artist. It just was never in me, but I just grew up singing. Myself and my two older brothers, my mom would make us sing. And then as I got older, I went to the University of Richmond. I ended up joining the choir as a pianist, and then end up being the director of the choir by my senior year. So, teaching music was just in me, and singing and things like that, but never a solo recording artist. I always had a passion for business. In high school, I was president of the Future Business Leaders of America and things like that. So I just knew I wanted to be involved in business. So I pursued a Bachelor of Science degree and graduated with it. And subsequently, as I started working on the corporate side, I was still doing on the side my own stuff. I was doing graphics and branding. And to make a long story short, I had a friend who was working for a major gospel artist, and they needed some graphic work. And they said, "Oh, I know somebody that could do it real quick." It was a last minute thing. And they put me on, and then I end up, working more so in the industry. And it just kind of went from there, word of mouth. And then as I was continuing doing branding for major artists, I've done some flyers for Kiara Sheard. I now manage all her websites. I manage Karen Clark Shear's websites. I've done graphics for Leandria Johnson. So those things have caused me to be in the industry. But people thought I managed those artists, which I didn't. They would say, "Oh, do you know how to book them? Do you manage them?" And I said, "No, I just do some branding for them." And people kept asking me often enough. I said, "Well, maybe I should think about being a manager, because I know the industry in and out. When you build a website for an artist, generally that's their booking portal. So I'm familiar with the booking process and just, being backstage and from end to end booking the artist. So I said, well, why not, launch out there and launch my own artist management company. And that's what I did in 2019.
Okay. So it started in 2019. 2019, the end of 2019 into 2020, we're going into COVID, correct? So
Right.
what was that like? You launched this company and then, things just had to shift
Yeah.
drastically and quickly.
Yeah.
So how did you pivot? How did you manage through that and still stay within that area of artist management?
Right. And the crazy thing is, yeah, I managed to survive during that period. I know some managers that, lost their artists or they pivoted away from it and they just kind of took a nosedive. But my agency is unique where I don't just do artist management and booking. I don't just find new opportunities, but we're a full house company where your branding and public relations are in house, so we don't have to outsource anything. So we can work with you while instead if you're not booked, we can still work with you on your branding, on your merch, on your website, getting you interviews and things like that. And so throughout the pandemic, the artists that I represent, we were getting them on because I have an assistant that works with me, Justin Reeves. He's been with me for a couple of years. And so I brought him on during that time to help navigate some of that because even though there weren't a lot of bookings, I was able to keep them busy. I was able to keep them busy with, again, promotions and interview writing, getting in the studio, recording, and some new music came out of the pandemic. And so, if you were a smart manager, if you're, instead of just letting your artists sit to the side and not book them, you leverage their skill set and sort of redirect them. And that's what I did. I said, okay, well, it's time to write songs. It's time to get a photo shoot done. We got some photos. Time to do a video. Things like that didn't require to be around a lot of people. So those are the things we did, and from that point on, I ended up taking on additional artists during that time because they saw what I was doing with other artists. So yeah, so it was actually a blessing on my side.
That's really good. As you speak, I have not your level of experience, but just a little bit of experience with artist management. And so what you said is really critical. A lot of artists, they come to you and they know how to sing and they
Right.
sing well.
Right.
Unfortunately, one of the reasons why there's such a struggle beyond the struggles of the industry and how the industry is set up is because they're not working the business side
Yep.
of
Yep.
the gift. And
Yep.
there is a whole business side that
Yep.
needs to be taken care of.
Exactly.
Do you find that to be the one of the biggest struggle with not just independent artists, but gospel artists in general, is that they, of course, they focus on the gift and the singing and
Mhm.
often find it difficult, even when they have management, to really attend to the business side?
Exactly. And that's the reason why, we have jobs because of that. And, the thing about it is being consistent and guiding them through the process and letting them know how critical it is to have someone that is looking out for your business interests. And so, me having the qualifications, having a business degree, and then real world experience, they learn to trust me, right? And so when you build that trust with your artists, they're more likely to listen to you, and you can help guide them through, the business. And then when you represent them, when you deliver real results to your artists, then they trust you more when the bookings come in or when they get nominated for awards or when they start charting. They can, they knew it wouldn't be possible without having you there. So you have to put in the work to really show them in the industry. A lot of times before they hired me, they had already tried to work with somebody else that didn't really know what they was doing. And so, you can approach an artist or they can approach you and say, well, I want to be represented, I need a manager, but that doesn't mean that person is qualified to do the work. So you have to build a relationship, and then once I built that relationship, then they start to trust you, and you can go from there. They want real results. They don't want to. Now, for me and my company, my artists pay a retainer monthly. So I basically make them invest in their future, right? And so it keeps them accountable. It keeps me accountable. It's a contract basis. This is not just me, making cold calls trying to get you booked. It's a relationship. It's a business. So I'm professionally representing you in all areas of your career and being proactive about it and moving you forward and developing you as an artist. And so with that retainer comes, it's a contract, it comes responsibility. So by them investing in their career, I basically take that money and put it back into them. I use that for radio spotlights or whatever. It goes towards their concerts or whatever. And so they invest in themselves. And so I help them, mold themselves into that professional career that they need.
I like that accountability part as well. That's really good. And making sure that they're investing in themselves, because what I've found in business, especially within kingdom business, and I keep seeming to learn this lesson over and over again more recently, is that things don't seem to go well when people are not willing to invest in themselves, not just their time, but even financially. That when you come across someone who's willing to invest their time, energy, effort, and their money, it seems to be that they can go to the next level.
Right.
And they're ready to go to the next level
Right.
as well. The other thing that you mentioned that I like is that you said we're the one-stop shop. So I think that's another issue that artists, not just artists, but anybody who's in the industry of wanting to be booked, whether it is a someone who's a speaker, someone who's a gospel artist, a musician, whatever it is that once again things are fragmented, and so you have the manager that does the management, then you have the booking agent, then
Exactly.
you have the graphics
Mhm.
team, and
Yep.
then you have the publishing company, and you have all these different entities that often are not on the same page,
Right.
and they're going in sometimes not even on the same page, they're going in completely different directions, and the person that suffers for it is the artist, the artist or the
Right.
speaker or whatever it is. So I like the fact that your company provides that one-stop shop to
Mhm.
allow for the continuity to really be able to take place and make sure that everything is being taken care of and everyone is on the same page. So that's really good. Before we end out, again, this, even though you're not an artist, you work with artists. And so I would like for you to share with those, particularly those independent gospel artists, just a few tips that you could share with them, things that would help them to get on track and be able to take their music to the next level.
Yeah, so the thing about being a recording artist is that it takes a team. You cannot do it by yourself. So even though you may feel that you are an amazing artist and you develop your craft and you got songs to write and things like that, you need a team. You need an engine behind you. Some of the best artists, whether they're secular or whether they're gospel, they have teams behind them. When they get off that stage, they're usually somebody back there waiting for them. Their manager, the road manager, the social media person with a camera in their face or something. It's a team effort. And so my advice is to build an A+ team. And when I say that, of course, and it doesn't always start with a manager. Even though I own an artist management company, that's not always the first thing that you need. Your team may have started with a social media manager or somebody following you around with a camera. It may be you, the artist, and your camera person. That's your first team, and then your musicians, right? And then from there, you may have a person that's a tour person that knows how to put together tours. Then after that, it comes, oh, I know somebody that knows how to manage. This person, I really would love them to manage it. So it's not always the first thing that happens, but you build your team. And once you build your team, then to go forth and make sure it's an A+ team, and identify people early that are lazy, people that are not 100% all in for you. You know, you can pretty much identify those people fairly early. You know, identify people that are not 100% in on your career and invested in you, and then get rid of them. Move. You know, they say the saying says, hire slow and fire fast.
Mm.
And that's a true saying. You know what I'm saying? And so you hire slow, meaning make sure that you're identifying and vetting the right people for you, and fire fast, meaning don't wait a long time for it to become the Titanic before you get rid of that person. And so yeah, so that's my advice. Build a strong team, and you'll definitely go far. Don't try and do it by yourself.
I like that. And I'll just add to that, in building your strong team, oftentimes we go to the people closest to us, which is our family and friends, but that might not be your strong team. Not
Yep.
only might it not be your strong team, it probably is often a team that you don't want to fire when they're not doing the job well. So, be willing to look beyond,
Exactly.
partnerships. Think outside of the box, but you definitely do want to have people on board who believe in you and support you and are willing to truly invest in you to get you to the next level. So, how can people reach you?
So I'm all over social media. My Instagram is i.am.j.hill. I am J Hill. And that you can find that also with Facebook. I'm on there, Jermaine Hill. I'm on TikTok the same way, Jermaine Hill. Twitter, I am J Hill. I'm verified on Twitter now, so I'm excited about that. And so, yeah. So just look up Jermaine Hill or I am J Hill, and you can find me there.
Do you have a website?
Yes, it's ejh-consulting.com. That's ejh-consulting.com. And EJH are my initials, so that's where that comes from.
So I write EGH
EJ,
dash.
yep, ejh-consulting.com.
Okay. Again, I thank you for coming on. It should be scrolling. Well, it should be scrolling. No. All right. There we go. Did I
Oh,
spell?
okay,
Nope.
yeah, it's Ejh, but it's very close. You put EJH. I don't want them to go to the wrong side. EJH, like
J,
John.
J,
Yeah,
J, J. Okay. And
EJH.
I see consulting.
EJH dash. Yeah, the rest of it is correct. Yeah.
Nope. Actually, it was missing an N in consulting.
Oh, okay. Yep.
All right. Let's try this again.
I'm excited. I love technology.
Nope. Wrong one.
Yeah,
Is
you
that
see,
it?
you were missing the N in there. ING.
Oh,
TI.
consulting company. Okay.
Uh
Listen, we're going to get it right.
huh. We got the third time's a try, as a charm, they say. Yep, EJH dash consulting. And while you're putting that in, I've been trying to purchase just without the dash in there, ejhconsulting.com, but somebody else owns it and they're not letting it go just yet. So
Yeah, they probably know you want it
you
and
know how
want you
that
to
goes.
pay.
Yeah, they
Yes,
keep emailing
and they
me.
want.
There it
Yeah, okay, we
is.
got it now. Yes,
There
there
it
we
is.
go. So that is how you can reach him. It is scrolling.
Yes.
If you're interested in management, as well as a host of other uh, necessary things for you to move as an artist, as an independent artist, this is the guy that you want to reach out to. So again, thank you for coming on. Thank you for what you do, and
Mhm.
continued success to you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
You're welcome.